Okay, so the website is now 90% finished, I would say. And these are the two people responsible for what you see. The tool itself can be accessed via the menu here or the button on the home page. What this tool tries to achieve is to answer some branding questions with a little bit of NLP. So on this tab, what we have are the various airlines. These are just 5 airlines that we have selected for analysis. Using a brand analysis, we look at each airlines in terms of a number of different brand propositions or brand characteristics. And then we see how each airline performs on their supposed brand characteristics. So for example, KLM was deemed to be focusing on being a global brand, highly motivated and driven, with memorable characteristics, very proud of its heritage. And then we can see that in terms of global, KLM is doing very well. And if we click on this, we can see how that is composed. So each brand characteristic is composed of a dictionary of words related to this topic. And we can see here that the word connecting is the one where KLM stands out the most. Now we can filter this to focus only on positive reviews, looking at the 4 and 5 star reviews versus the lower end of the spectrum, to see whether or not there are any differences in unhappy customers or the perceptions of unhappy customers as compared to their happy counterparts. So you can see this end of the spectrum is more dominated by words related to being a global brand, whereas this end of the spectrum is more dominated by words related to being driven, such as hardworking, determined, motivated, and so on. Although a lot of these are composed of this keyword, and that might suggest that this is not the ideal keyword for this category. And it's from here that a branding expert like my colleague can start to construct an analysis of the company based on the findings from the tool. So we can look at different brands, we can look at different brand propositions, we can inspect to see how those are broken down in terms of what are people talking about in their reviews. We can look at happy customers and unhappy customers to see what differences there are. This average score here, this is for the entire data set. So the average score for the entire data set of British Airways is 3.4. Slightly more positive, perhaps, interestingly, for EasyJet, KLM, Ryanair scores the lowest on our analysis, and Virgin Atlantic scores the highest. If we look at Virgin Atlantic and we say, okay, what were they welcoming? And you see the word attentive, for example, here. 8% of reviews use the word attentive. And we can explore that a little bit further here. If we put in the word attentive, using Elasticsearch, it's gone through all 5 data sets to look for the word attentive. And then we can also see, for example, down here, that most people who use the word attentive with Virgin are very positive. We can look at the negative end of the spectrum here. BA performs very poorly in this regard. Now we can actually read the reviews to see what people are saying. Here we've got not attentive, for example. And if we want to remove words like not we can actually filter those out here. So we only get, what have we selected? We've selected 1-star ratings for Virgin, and we're filtering out anything that says not attentive, and then we can see the reviews here. One characteristic for Virgin Airways is the word fun, and small words like this can be problematic, so this has been pre-filtered. If we look here for example, we see that fun is actually picking up a lot of unrelated words, and for that we can do a hard match. And now we can see all fun related words are purely hard matching. So if we want to filter for something, if we wanted a combination of say fun and crew, we can see here that we can filter specifically for this combination. On the next tab, we just get a lot more statistical information. For example, here are some default keywords for KLM, and we can see how many texts or how many reviews are in the corpus, and we can see what percentage of those texts. So in this case, these keywords constitute 1,400 of this 10,000 text corpus, which is about 13%. You see once again that Dutch dominates, and we can filter this for different rating ranges. If you want to say, okay, I don't want the word Dutch, I want to see what percentage of texts contain keywords without the word Dutch, we can simply copy these across and we can remove the word Dutch from this list. And you can see here it updates pretty quickly. We've got bigrams, distinctive bigrams within this dataset compared to other datasets. Trigrams, these are 3-word phrases and combinations. Most common, so these are adjective noun combinations. I think there's only 50 here, and you get to see not only the most common adjective noun combinations, but also just how common they are in the dataset. Unique phrases, these are noun phrases that only occur within, in this case, this is the KLM dataset. Varied reviews takes these keywords as default and just say, okay, which reviews contain more than one or combinations of these keywords. And we can see that this one here, 2307, contains the highest combination, and here we can read the review below. Visualize clusters, this takes us to an LDA analysis of the different airlines. A default number of clusters was chosen, in this case it was 15. By adjusting the value for lambda here, we can adjust this relevance term here, and what that will do is look only within that cluster, look mainly within that cluster to see which words are the most prominent. Okay, finally we have the part of speech distribution. So we can just look at specific parts of speech. In this case, we've got adjectives to see which are the most common within each of the data sets. As you might imagine, good and great feature prominently for each airline at the head of the distribution. And if we filter that for terrible reviews only, you can see that worst, the more negative, rude, more negative reviews are more common. We can increase the number of words we see, and as you see, the long tail of the the zip distribution shows far more variation than the head. We can look purely at positive reviews as well. Over here we can look at just nouns, and here we've got adjective and noun combinations: great flight, great service, and so on. So that's the tool. It allows you to dig down. It's, I would say, 90% finished. We are hoping to add a machine learning component which breaks down the customer journey in terms of reviews. So keep an eye out for that. And if you have any questions or suggestions, you can find either myself or Mauricy at the following. We would both like to thank Dana Schrotenboer for her work during her master's assignment in analyzing the brands to get out brand characteristics.